sister.
So are we going to the penthouse, rooftop? What are we doing? Garden?
I'm taking you to the basement.
What's the basement?
Because when she gets in trouble, she goes to the basement.
Oh, shit.
I'm never getting in trouble.
What happens at the
Always
basement?
get persecuted. I'm just kidding.
Hilarious. Not ready. Whenever. Oh, so don't pull that too far.
Okay.
Because I want you to. So do a check for me. Just
Mic check. 1 2 1 1 2 1 2.
That's too loud. Ooh,
No,
that's
okay.
way too loud. Don't. Yeah.
Scoot back. Be comfortable.
Yeah, just be
Okay.
comfortable. No, I want you to sit like.
Okay.
No, just be how you're gonna be, and I'll adjust the volume.
Okay.
So I say, get comfortable, girl.
Okay.
That's
Like that?
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
I like your hair. It's cute. In the sun right now, it's like such a
I
lavender
know.
color. It's beautiful.
It almost looks like silvery-ish, huh? Yeah.
Your phone on vibrate.
Yes, it is.
Perfect. All right. Is that loud? All right, we good. Welcome to the 1NELife podcast, y'all. I am Mike. And by to the C, as always, I have my lovely co-host, the lovely, beautiful Diana from Socialholic.
Hey, y'all.
And we are in the elevator with a special guest. We're going to the top floor today with the lovely Jackie Hernandez, one of the top realtors in the AV. Thank you for joining us, Jackie. How you doing today?
Hi, thank you for having me, guys. I'm super honored to have been asked to come here today.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
But first, let's talk about it. If you're feeling down, if you just need to speak on something, to vent, have good vibes, you just want to reach out, let's have those conversations. We have a call-in number, 747-999-8021, or you can reach me at IG at 1NELife Brand, or you can reach the lovely Diana at Socialholic TV. So let's just jump into this, guys. But I want you guys to vibe with me for a second, all right? As entrepreneurs, we're often view each other as competitors. We think we need to outperform each other, outsmart them, simply outdo them. We need the world to see that we are the best of the best, the cream of the crop, right? That mindset could be very flawed, and it has never worked. Instead, I've always chosen to come along other entrepreneurs and speak, to share ideas, converse, and strategize. By doing this, we all grow and become better versions of ourselves, not only in business, but in our communities as well. And that brings us to the topic of the day, community over competition.
My favorite topic.
Let's talk about it then. Let's talk about it. And Jackie, I know Jackie, I'm going to call you Jackie, but I might go back to Jacqueline as well.
Yeah, that
Because I
works.
like Jacqueline.
Yeah, that works.
So you are the president of the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals AV chapter.
That is correct.
And I looked that up and I was very impressed with what I saw. They're all about educating and bringing communities together. So talk about that a little bit.
So what NAREP stands for is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. And we are a national organization. We have over 100 chapters nationwide with over 40,000 members. And our goal is to help educate the Hispanic community with the goal ultimately of obtaining home ownership. And I think that's the American dream, right?
Yes.
Everybody thinks sometimes it's not in your grasp and it's unreachable because there's a lot of different misconceptions about purchasing a home. And, you have to have $50,000 in the bank, or you need to come in 20% down, or, you have to have a 700-800 plus credit score. And those things aren't accurate. So especially within the Hispanic community, there's a lot of different obstacles that they have to face. There's the language barrier. And so we try to help them with the tools and resources that they need to be able to hopefully achieve that one day.
That's awesome. Because it is an educational thing, because it's not just provided,
Right.
It's something that they would have to investigate or research, and who helps them find it. And I love that they have this option.
And the thing is people don't know where to go. They don't know where to get the information, where to go for these resources. And sometimes they're just afraid to ask. They're afraid to ask.
So does NAREP offer like the education part, or is it like a grants, or is it like classes, or how does NAREP help these families?
So ultimately, each chapter runs things differently. Us in the AV, we are very involved within our community. So like you'll see us at different events, let's say, and we're there providing information. So we are there with lists as far as what you need to be able to qualify for a home. We go to national conventions so that we can try to implement these policies to help our Hispanic community, you know, with different things like grants or things like that. So ultimately, it's just getting the word out there. We're just advocating.
I love that. And you do a lot of events. I see you. You're always in the community doing something, and I applaud you for that. So it's amazing.
So,
Thank you.
So I want to touch on this a little bit. I know this is kind of off topic what we're talking about, but since you brought it up, educating them about, because, you know, a lot of homeowners, when they purchase their first home, they are misled. Like, for instance, like I'm on my second home, right? And I've used a private lender. Okay. Both times, because the first time I went to like Wells Fargo, and I know I'm about to bash Wells Fargo. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Get sponsored by Wells Fargo.
Yeah. Well, if we do, I'll take this back. But until then, but no, Wells Fargo. So like, you go in there, you try to get a loan, and if you don't qualify, they just say, okay, you don't qualify, they send you out the door, right?
Right.
What I found out, like from a good friend of mine who's a private lender, he actually works with people. He'll say, okay, I can't get you a loan today, but if you do A, B, C, D, like, then I can get you a loan. Like, he works with you and educates you.
Plan of action.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't know that. Like, they get turned off because immediately they go to Chase or they go to Wells Fargo or somebody, then they get so turned off by, oh, it's going to be so difficult. I mean, you run across that a lot, right?
Absolutely, all the time. So what happens is a lot of people will typically go to their bank first. So whether they bank with Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, which are all great, right? They all have their different types of programs that they offer, but their guidelines are a little bit different, you know, as opposed to going with a direct lender. They offer a lot more different types of programs that might be a better fit for the client. And I mean, it all comes down to ultimately the lender that you're working with. You want to make sure you have someone good on your team that's going to take that extra step to be able to, like you said, mention, help the client with fixing their credit. Or like you said, you know what, you're not ready right now, but if we work on these things, paying off this debt, then you'll be ready in the next 3 to 4 months, right? So I tell my clients that are just thinking about the possibility, I said, no one is saying that you have to jump on it right now. Like, the moment you talk to a lender, they think, oh my God, I'm immediately locked in on this, and what if I'm not ready? I need more money down. But it doesn't mean that we have to start the process right away, right? I'm not going to go show you homes immediately that second. All it is just to see where you're at, to see, hey, maybe you are ready and that's great, but if you do need some work, we can work at that. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, the process is long anyways, right? The process is long anyways. I remember my second home that I just purchased, and they gave me such a hard time. Like, my first home was easy, right? The second home, I don't know what it was, if they changed, and I know they changed the rules quite often. That's what my buddy was telling me. Like, they changed their rules often. And this time around, I had all the money to buy out my house straight out, right? But I just went through the loan process as well. But even with that, they told me that I needed to get I needed to sign affidavit saying that my business won't go under if I use the money, because I had it in my business name. And I was like, well, I am the business. I'm telling you, I could use the money. They was like, no, we need that in writing. Like, you need it. And I was like, they just made me go through all these extra hoops, right? And I had the money, and I was like, so it was frustrating too. Yeah. Because sometimes the process can be a lot frustrating.
Not enjoyable.
You know, there's a lot of things that people don't see in the background. So like, when a realtor, let's say, posts that we closed the home, everyone sees the polished and finished product, but they don't actually see what we're dealing with on the back end. Right. You know, and a lot of these things that you mentioned come up, and it's stressful. But as a real estate agent, you have to make sure that you educate your clients and you're letting them know what's happening the entire time, so that when things like that happen, they're aware, you know, and ultimately you just have to have that communication constantly. Right.
And that just goes into our topic, community over conversation, and sort of way. I mean, it's all about communication. As you was talking about being people. I mean, people, well, we were talking about this earlier. People buy from people. That was my good friend, Jeanette. What's up, Jeanette? I got to say what's up to Jeanette, because she gave me that quote last night. But I love that. I love how she said that.
Yeah, because they don't want to buy from a business per se. Yeah. This day and age, especially after the pandemic, we are so supportive of our community and our local businesses. And so many have developed tight relationships since the pandemic, that we feel that connection, that we want to support. You know, we're not supporting a corporation, we're supporting somebody, like I mentioned before, putting someone through school, putting someone through, you know, after school flag football. Those different things matter. And to know that we're making a difference, or we are some way supporting somebody in that adventure, I think it's amazing. So I think that's why that quote is so true. People buy from people. And that's what's so important. And that's her presence is so unique in that, is that you feel relatable to Jackie or Jacqueline. And I love that. You know, I love that. And I really navigate and I feed and I am attracted to people like that because I feel that way.
No, absolutely. And I love the fact that how you just mentioned, like, you're a coach. So I was a little stalker last night, so I was kind of like on your profile.
He's like, who are we talking to tomorrow?
No, because
Let me learn everything I need to learn right now.
I don't think we've met before.
No, I
and
don't
so,
think so.
yeah, so I'm still new out in AV, and you know, like I've told this story a couple of times on the podcast. You know, when I first got out here, you know, I tried to get involved in the community, but I ran across, you know, people that just wasn't as tight. Once I ran across Diana and met Diana, she started introducing me to her circle.
Right.
And everybody is so tight, like the Amandas, the
Raina,
Andreas, Ernie.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody's just so tight, and they've been so welcoming to me, right? But I never had the chance to actually meet you yet.
She's so busy.
So that's why.
I know.
Selling houses.
That's why I had to be a little stalker last night. So you do coach football, which was very impressive.
Yes, actually, it just happened. It kind of was. It was kind of unexpected, not kind of, completely unexpected. I had a friend reach out, and her son actually was part of the team, and she said, "Hey." They asked me to coach because there was no other coaches for this particular team. If we can't find one, the boys can't play this season. She's like, I don't know anything there is to know about football. She goes, I know the word touchdown, but that's pretty much all I know. She's like, and so, and I'm a huge Cowboy fan. Like, I bleed blue, you know?
Hey.
Like,
There we go.
I
Love the
love
Cowboys.
my Cowboys.
Thank you.
And so
I knew I liked you.
yeah. And so I said, well, you know, it's not like I'm out there playing every day, but I mean, I know the game, right? So I said, let's go see what this is all about. So we walk into the coach's first meeting. And I'm looking around, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what did we just get ourselves into? Because here we are, the only women, right? In a room full of like 30 different men. And the questions they were asking and everything they were talking about, I'm like, okay, so clearly we are the only ones that this is going to be our first time around, because they knew everything. And I said, let me sleep on this, okay? Let me go home, let me sleep on this, and let me see what we're going to do. So, I thought, can I do this, right? I'm thinking, I've never coached football before, let alone, boys at first and second grade. And but then I thought about the fact that then these boys can't play. Right. So I said, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'll probably lose every game. And I mean, at least the boys will be out there having fun, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
But did you have a child in the game, or
no?
Okay,
no.
So this makes it very interesting.
No.
Wow.
No. And so we took it on. I remember, there was little conversations going on with other coaches, like, oh yeah, look at those two girls, like we're gonna beat them. And we went undefeated.
Hey.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So it was a very rewarding experience, Like you mentioned, I am the president of this NAREP organization for the Antelope Valley chapter. I'm a chair for KW Cares in my office. But I think the word coach, that for me has meant more than anything else,
Awesome.
Just because I remember the first day the boys got there and they're like, Coach Jackie, and I'm like, oh my God, that is me. That's me. Right?
I love it, right?
It was really rewarding to help these boys.
So I have a similar story. So I coach my son's soccer team up in Valencia, the AYSO. I'm actually moved up to the co-director now.
Very cool.
But at first, and I've always been involved in both my kids' sports activities, right? Like I coached my daughter track team for like 10 years. So, but as far as my son, like I didn't know nothing about soccer.
Yeah.
So I was just out there, the first year with him. And they gave me the same story. And these are disabled kids, by the way. So it's the VIP league. And they gave me the same story. You know, they was like, hey, Mike, do you want to coach? Because, you know, next season, if we don't have enough coaches, a lot of these kids won't be able to play. And for me, you know, these kids are different and they're special. Some of them, it's all they have. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll coach. Yeah. I was like, I don't care if I'm the only coach out there. Yeah. There's no way they're not going to have a season. And they just stuck at home, right? So it's been 8 years now. And now I'm the co-director, and I love it. Like, and I still don't know nothing about soccer. I know I know you're supposed to kick the ball in the goal, right? But I don't understand the rules or nothing. But I have such a great time just from them being out there, them calling me coach, and you know, like you said, it's just amazing. And I just love being a part of that community.
Yeah, so cool.
You know, and so you know, again, what we're talking about, community of competition. You do a lot of community work, right? So what is community to you?
Unity. You know, giving back, togetherness. I feel like, you know, in the real estate business, there's so much pressure to, you know, be number one in the office or be top 20%. And I'm like, you guys can have that number one spot. You guys can all fight for that. Because for me, none of that compares to like the community work that I do on the side. And sometimes I've had conversations with people and they ask, you know, but at the end of the day, none of this stuff pays you. Right? You're not getting any money from it. And I'm like, that doesn't matter to me though. You know, I feel like my mission is bigger than me. And so when I go out there to help any nonprofit or what, like, you know, coaching the boys or whatever it is that I'm doing, that fulfills me in a way money can't.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's like you do get paid in fulfillment though. And that's even more important. Right. You know, nothing's going to feed your soul than that.
Yeah.
But that's what I tell everybody all the time. Like I do a lot of mindset training and, you know, inspirational stuff. And I tell everybody all the time, never chase the money. Yeah. You're supposed to chase your passion, and the money is always going to present itself, right? But you never chase the money. Yeah. Never chase the money. So that's God. I mean, kudos to you. Congrats to you. I mean, that's amazing. I actually feel good right now. Like, no, I love people. Uplifted. I mean, so the one thing that we really want to talk about was community of competition. Like, because a lot of people don't just believe in it, you know. Or
they say it, but they don't instill it, or they don't really live by that daily.
Right. So you know, so last night I had a great day yesterday, you guys, and I had a great night, by the way. What's up to my girl Jeanette? Shout out to her again. No, a friend of mine, she took me out to dinner and drinks last night over at Zelda.
Glenn was there too. Don't forget about Glenn.
I love Zelda's.
Huh?
Zelda's is amazing. Yes.
You said you love Glenn.
No, I said Glenn was there. She said she loves Zelda's.
Oh no, yeah, I love Zelda's. Shout out to, if you guys haven't been out to Zelda's. I mean, I went last night on Thursday when they
Where
had
is
the
Zelda's?
live
Just in case people are wondering what we're talking about. I know, but you gotta tell it to our people. It's Zelda's 750 West on Lancaster Boulevard.
Well, there you go. That's why I got a co-host.
There you go. Yeah.
So I was there last night for the jazz session with what's his name, Herbie.
Yes.
He's awesome.
Yes.
You know,
I love their live music and the karaoke, but I love their live music.
I know the karaoke was fire. We had a really good time. We were celebrating my sister's birthday there a couple weeks ago, and apparently nobody was singing, and then everybody was singing. Right.
And it's the ambiance too, like the outdoor patio, the fountain, the vibe, and then if you go inside, it's like that speakeasy, real like smoke a cigar vibe.
And the drinks are so cute.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and shout out to my boy Buck. He always know not to give me the fancy, pretty drinks. Because every time I go, he be trying to give me the drinks with the flowers in them.
Yeah. He's one of the bartenders?
Yeah, the bartender. He's super cool, though. He makes the best drinks.
Yeah.
Like, so far. But anyway, so I was there last night. And I had actually had a chance to sit down with Karen, one of the co-owners. And we was talking about community of competition, because it's like, she was like, you know, I was telling her what, you know, Diane and I was doing with Socialholic, and, you know, we really trying to bring the community together. And so she was like, well, what do we do? Because she said she's been trying a lot of stuff. So the question is, like, we all know the problem, right? Community of competition, and a lot of people don't get involved. They say they do, but they really don't. So what is the solution?
I think ultimately it's putting that ego aside, you know, your own personal ego. And it's funny because me and my sister was having this conversation on the way over here, is that, you know, a lot of people think, oh no, if I start to promote her, or I start hyping her up, or, you know, I send business her way, then she's going to be taking from me. And at the end of the day, it's like, there's room enough for all of us to succeed and be successful. Yeah. You don't have to, you know, be a hater, you know, if you want to call it that. in order for you to shine.
And it's not even like giving them something. It's just knowing they exist should not be a problem.
Right.
There's there's so many people in this world. We cannot handle every person.
Right.
We need to. And I think it's important if we do support our people or other companies that are doing similar work than us, how stronger are we?
Right.
We are strong because if they're booked, they're going to refer to you. And if you're booked, you're going to refer to them.
Absolutely.
And it's just a helping circle. And I think that's what pushes our goal and our community over competition even further, is when you realize that there's no way you can handle all the business in this world.
Right.
So why not be friends with someone that's doing something similar? And if anything, you can learn something from them. They can learn something from you. You can become friends. You don't know what these people can contribute to your life and vice versa.
Right.
It's so important. It's so important.
Right. And, there's really three good reasons why community over competition is good for business. And one of my favorite one is embrace your you factor, right? No matter how stiff or vast you may feel the competition is within your industry, nobody can take away the you factor. You are what sets your business apart from everyone else. There is a secret sauce that draws people to you, and the same goes for your competitors, right? And it's like I always tell people, we are all born with a unique gift.
Right.
And if people find their unique gift and stay in their lane and kind of walk their own path, it doesn't matter what your competitor next to you is doing. Like you still have that secret sauce. You have that unique gift that sets you apart, right? And I think that's one of the flaws that a lot of people have. They ain't found their gift yet. They always trying to be like the next person next to them, or trying to be like somebody else. You can't be like them, especially like in your field, you're a realtor, right? You have a unique gift.
Yeah.
Than other realtors, right?
Right.
And that's what sets you apart. But you guys can all work together.
It could be her compassion. It could be something that, just the way she talks to somebody. That we all have our own unique gift, but we all have our people. People are going to flock to you for that they're looking for that gift. You're not going to always be everybody's person.
Right.
And that's okay.
And I think a lot of people, that's a problem, is that everyone thinks you have to be liked by everyone. And at the end of the day, you
don't even like everybody.
Right?
How does that happen?
When I got started in this business, sometimes it happens. Friends that use another agent, or even family sometimes. And whatever the reason may be, it's okay. You're not going to be for everyone. And you just have to be okay with knowing that, you know what, it's fine. That person decided to use someone else for whatever the reason may have been. But, don't beat yourself up over it.
That takes practice.
Yeah.
It takes practice to be okay with that. And I was in real estate a couple of years back. It wasn't my thing. That wasn't my thing. But when I got into real estate, I was like, hey family, hey friends, guess what? Da, 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 and crickets. And I was like, but it took time to realize, like, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, they don't have to use you just because you're family or your friends. You're brand new. Maybe they want someone a little more experienced, or maybe they're looking for someone that matches them, like their person, like what they're looking for. I'm not that person. It's okay. But it takes so much time, practice. And even in community over competition, even though I preach it and I love it and I truly, truly try to live by it, there's been moments of imperfection where I'm just like, there's another coordinator. She's really good. And it's like having to, like, you know what? No, fuck that. Like, hey, I'm Diana with Eventually Events. Who are you? Oh my God, it's so great to know you. We should do lunch. Like, let's talk. And that, even though like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my God, she does what I do. Doing that helped me. And once you meet them and you hear their story and they you kind of like really like them, and you're like, I really like you. I don't want to like you. I don't want to, but I really do. Like, it's amazing. So it's hard, but I mean, I think as long as we strive to continue that, we're going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. But if we recognize it and we continue to strive it, God, like the imagine the possibilities.
Well, that goes to number 2, what I wrote down here. It can only help your business. Like when you help someone else, you not only provide insight or ideas into businesses, you're also having an open dialogue around these concepts, resulting in a spark of a new idea or improvement that can implement in your own business. I always say you never know what word, story, or just giving someone a thought could do to their lives, right? I teach that, like, that's my brand. That's why I love having conversations and talking things through. I mean, you hear me talk about this all the time. Right? You just never know by talking through what's going to spark an idea in someone's head, and it's also going to help you. All right. So, with that, I mean, I want to know more about your story, Jacqueline. Like, what got you into real estate and got you in, like, where did the community, like the love for the community come from? Was it from childhood or did someone you meet? Like, and how did you embrace that?
Well, in regards to real estate, that was never something. I mean, I still think back and I'm like, how did I even get here? But then I really think and I'm like, no, I know exactly how I got here. So real estate was actually never something I wanted to do. It kind of happened, and life has a funny way of putting people and things into your life. But I actually always wanted to be in law enforcement. Always since I could remember. I think I was like, I don't know, maybe I was going to say a freshman in high school, but no, I think when I was a freshman, I wanted to get into the Air Force because I had, gone through the process. And then finally when I was a senior, my mom was like, no, don't leave. And then I was like, okay, fine, But after that, I wanted to get into law enforcement. I went through the process, and then I got to the last part where they asked me to do a 10-page essay of why I wanted to join the department. And that was back in Ventura County, actually, because I'm not originally from the Antelope Valley. I was born and raised in Oxnard. So shout out to the 805.
I want to go there. Yeah. That's my goal, is to go there for weddings.
People say, why did you leave the beach to come to the desert, right? And my answer was like, well, I got married, and so I had no choice.
My
husband. Like, he already lived here, and it was like, all right, I guess I'm going out there.
We have similar stories. My husband forced me over here. I'm just kidding. He didn't force me, but that's why I'm here.
It's funny because when we were talking, he was like, oh, where, do you live here? And I was like, yeah. And we were in Camarillo at the time. And I was like, you live here too? He's like, no, I used to. He's like, and I live in Palmdale now. He's like, you're going to come visit me? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Absolutely not. And then, I mean, look at me now. I've been here. I've been married for 14 years now, and now here in the Antelope Valley. So I will say that, going back to real estate, no, it was never something I wanted to do. I wanted to be in law enforcement. I wanted to do all these things. I wanted to be a detective. And then I was like, no, maybe I should get into the SWAT team. And I don't know.
So it's always been community, based in.
Yeah, I just wanted to be able to help others.
She's like a protector. Right.
When I was out in Oxnard, I did. I was a victim advocate for the Ventura County Courthouse. Okay. And so the stories I would hear about these victims was just heartbreaking. And I wanted to help in any way that I possibly could. Then coming out here, things kind of shifted a little bit. I started working in the food industry for a little bit. Then again, I went back to the law enforcement. And that was during the time when everything was kind of hitting the fan, a couple of years ago, right before COVID hit. All of the issues that were going on. And so, again, I was already ready to go. I remember me and my sister and a couple of friends had gone hiking, and we came back. I opened up my garage door, and then all of a sudden 2 cops are pulling up literally right behind us. And they're like, oh, we're your field officers. We're here to talk to your neighbors so we can get you your academy date. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is happening. I'm really going for this. And for the first time, I was scared. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was due to the fact that there was so many things happening at the time with law enforcement, all the different changes. But for the first time, there was a fear in me. And I thought, why am I feeling this way? If this is something I have been wanting to do for such a long time, it's not like there were those, it wasn't like I was nervous because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. It was like,
I don't know if I want to do this.
Having that uniform on, I thought, I'm a walking target now, And so I thought, okay, I have a decision to make. Do I continue with real estate, or do I move forward with what I've always wanted to do? And well, I'm obviously still in real estate, I can't say that I'll never pursue it again. Who knows, maybe down the line. But at the time, I made a decision to not go through with that at the moment, just because I felt like the timing wasn't there, Real estate has opened up a ridiculous amount of doors for me, just because I've gotten so many different connections with different organizations that I've been able to help. So though I didn't do it with law enforcement, I did it in a different way, you know?
Yeah.
In regards to how I started, it all started with me purchasing my home, actually. So I had an amazing team that actually represented me. It was Nancy Del Sato, Adrian Saragosa, and Laura Rothergary. And all of them used to be on a team before Keller Williams. And I remember walking into Chase, you know, going back to using your banks that you know. And I walked in there, that's who my bank was at the time. And then I remember saying, so I want to get pre-qualified. What do I need to do? So I remember she walked me over to the lender and, you know, we talked numbers and everything. I gave my information. And then he says, here's your letter. You're pre-approved. And he takes me back to Laura, because she was there at the time, and says, she's ready. And so Laura's like, okay, so when do you want to go see homes? Mm-hmm. And what are you looking for? And do you want a pool? And, you know, how many bedrooms? And I'm like, oh my gosh, is this happening right now? Like, I couldn't even breathe. Like, what's happening? So I remember saying, just give me a minute. I got to go home. I need to talk to my husband. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing, right? So throughout the process, I was very involved. I was intrigued because I wanted to know everything that was happening. And so after the transaction, Nancy actually reached out and said, you know, I think you'd be a really good agent. And I'm like, girl, you crazy. Like, stop playing right now. You know, I'm like, I don't know anything about real estate. She's like, I really think you'd be good at it. So time went on. We remained friends. And she called me up one day and says, hey, just to let you know, I signed you up for career night tonight at Keller Williams. And she's like, I'm going to be there, so I expect you to show up. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my God, what did she just do to me right now? And I said, fine, whatever. I'm going just because I didn't want to look bad, right? And I'm like, fine, whatever. I get there, and sure enough, she's not even there, okay? So I think she did it on purpose, you know, just so I would go. And I remember sitting there, they started talking about what real estate was. You know, obviously it is a lot of hard work, but yes, you can make really good money too, right? They talked about, you know, creating your own schedule and having the liberty to do so, and just pretty much everything that it entailed. So I remember sitting there, and our CEO at the time, I think it was Rob, and he goes, so tomorrow real estate school starts, so you guys can sign up tonight. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm signing up, you know? And then that was it.
Wow.
You know?
You know, I went to a career night at Keller Williams when I first moved out here 4 years ago. And I actually went through their course. And Kathy was teaching it.
Kathy Toso, yeah, she taught me too.
Kathy, I love Kathy. Kathy's a good friend of mine. And because I've been in real estate as a side business. Okay. Like for 15 years. Because my ex-wife, her father is a contractor, architect, and he builds like big constructions, like commercial stuff. So, you know, I've helped him. I got interested in it because I helped him build a 91 unit apartment complex from the ground up. Nice. And then I learned about construction and all that. And then afterwards, he had me manage the place. And then it really, you know, got into my head where like I was like, oh wow, I love this. So when I moved out here, I actually took the course, and I already had sold like a few homes, but under someone else's license, right? And just got the commission. And I even did like a couple of deals with Kathy, like where I just used her license and she just gave me a commission. But I got nervous so I got all my certificates, but I got nervous when I had to take the state exam. Yeah, because everything Kathy was telling me, and even my lender, who was a good friend of mine, kept telling me, Mike, everything you know about real estate over the past 10 years, get it out your mind, because it's not going to be on the test. Yeah. And that made me nervous.
And everything that's on the test is not what you're going to use in real life.
Right. So that shit didn't make sense to me. I was like, there's no way I can separate that.
Money for nothing. Yeah,
and I was like, that's retarded, you know, but so I never took the test.
Yeah.
So, but I at some point, I think I want to just to have, I don't even know why, just to say I have a license.
You have a driver's license.
That's good. No, I think you should.
No, because I like it. Because at some point, because I've been in entertainment for over 30 years, right? I've been producing films for over 30 years. And right pre-pandemic, I was already on my 3-year plan from transitioning from entertainment to real estate. Then the pandemic hit, and then I got into consulting and all this stuff, and like doing this stuff with Diana. But now, at some point, I think I do, like the older I get, like the less work I want to do. Even though I know real estate being an agent, there's a lot of work, but I love doing that. Like, I love showing homes. Like, I know a lot about homes, and like I know about buildings and everything. So I don't know, it's just a passion of mine. I think at one point I will.
I think you should. I might.
I'll come decorate. That was my plug-in. I'm an interior designer. That's my starting. Yeah. So I was like, I'll buy a house, I'll flip it, I'll make it pretty, and yeah.
Well, you're gonna decorate my office.
Okay, I know that. But I want to know, how did Jackie become Jackie? Ventura.
You know,
part B to that is I want to know where the what is it? I'm sorry, I forgot. Deals and Hills come from.
So okay. There's this saying
that's a dope name. I like that.
Thank you. There's this saying that my mom would say all the time. It's Spanish, but it was mejor muerta que sencilla, right? And so I don't know if you understand what that means, but it pretty much means I'd rather be dead than simple. And where that came from is my grandma was always dressed up. You always saw her to the T. It didn't matter. If she was feeling horribly, if she was sick, my grandma was, just always on point, right? And image is very important in this business. It's important in general. The way you show up, the way people perceive you, that's how they're going to treat you. And it's unfortunate because before you even get a word out, they're already judging you based on your looks, right? So when you look good, you feel good, right? Therefore, your confidence level is on a totally different game now, you know? And so for me, it was important to always be in heels and ready to go and looking sharp and professional when I go and meet these clients, whether I had known them for a long time, whether they were friends, family, it didn't matter, because I am representing you as your agent. I am not going to go in there with flip-flops and, shorts. That doesn't look professional, right? Because my agents were looking sharp all the time. And it's kind of like, you can know it all, right? But that's not what people are going to see the moment they see that first second that they see you. That's not the impression that they're going to get. So, I don't know how that happened. I remember, after I got my license, I had a whole different Instagram page before, and it was just personal, right? And then I created Deals and Heels, and I thought for a while, like, okay, I'm going to keep both pages, but then it was like, no, people are going to see who I am as a whole. So I am an agent, right? But I like to work out at the same time. I am married. I have kids. I like to do community volunteer work. So, sometimes just posting a picture of a house isn't enough, right? Because people are like, okay, but who is Jackie? So I think it's important to be able to showcase who you are, because that's what people are going to relate to. So, like, I don't know, somebody could want to do business with me for the simple fact that, like you mentioned, I was coaching. So they're like, oh, my son or daughter plays on a team. That's kind of cool. Let me reach out to her just to, talk
Similarity.
or whatever, right? As opposed to you just see houses and then it's like, okay, just another real estate agent, But the whole Deals and Heels, I don't know how it started. I think the name kind of just came to me, but it kind of led with my mom saying, just always look sharp.
Gotta love that. Like, my grandma was the same way. She was like, you wake up, you could take a shower, you do your makeup, you get dressed, even if you're staying home. And hers was mainly like, your husband never comes home to you not dressed up. It was a different, but because generation was different. Like, you were in heels vacuuming your house.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, my grandpa knew. Like, my grandpa would come home and she was making dinner and she was in her little poodle skirts, but like fluffy skirt with her heels, and I'm like, the hell? Grandma's a different day and age, but she's always that way. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't feel good. You have to look good, and once you look good, you feel better. Yeah. And so it's so crazy how it's passed on to generation, and I love that. And I'm the same way with my clients. Like, I get dressed up. I'm wearing. Don't judge me.
No, but those are cute. Those are cute.
Sassy couture. But like, typically, I'm always dressed in some type of elevated shoe and dressed up when I meet with clients, even if it's a consultation, even if I've known them for the whole year that we've been planning their wedding. I'm not going to show up in my yoga pants just because
Right.
it's a representation of my company. And as a coordinator and, real estate agent, same thing. If I'm not put together, how can they relate to me to put together their event?
Absolutely.
So I know, and I told my husband, I have to have my lashes and I have to have my nails and I have to be put together. And, he's like, is this an investment? But it's true.
Yeah.
You have to.
But so is it different per industry or for males? Because like me, I'm always jeans, t-shirt, and hat, right? But I learned at a young age, and this is crazy because a good friend of mine, I think we was maybe 18, 19 years old, and he's a shoe designer. And me and my other friend was taking him to the airport because this company up in Boston wanted to hire him as a new shoe designer. And he was working at LA Gear at the time, way back then. And
shoot.
It was just
That's a throwback.
right. No, it is. That's how long ago it was. But we was taking him to the airport, and it was just he was just gonna fly there, meet with them, and fly right back. So he didn't have to have no suitcases or anything. So he got to the car, and he had on some jeans and a jean button-down shirt. And my friend looked at him and was like, "Is that how you going?" He was like, "Yeah." And it was like, "You're not gonna wear a suit?" He was like, "Well, they're not hiring me for how I dress. They're hiring me for my skills."
Oh, no, they're hiring for how you dress.
No, he literally made that point, and he was. Do you know he went on to be the head designer for Air
Really?
Jordan? He is best friends with Air Jordan to this day. He ran Air
crazy.
Jordan. He went from LA Gear to Carl Kanai to Skechers, and then from Skechers he went to Nike, and then Nike he went to Air Jordan. And he's always lived by that principle. He was like, they hiring me for my skills, not how the way I
Maybe
dress.
it's the industry then. I don't believe in that. I feel like if I meet somebody, and maybe that's different, designer, but for me, if you're going to come to meet with me, I want you to make me feel like you took time. I was important enough for you to
Yes.
take some time. And jeans, I don't mind jeans. If it's a nice, jacket with a nice shirt and pair of jeans, cool. Sweats, what? Like, don't I matter? Like, aren't I important enough for you to dress up?
Right.
If it's an impromptu me, like, hey girl, can I see you in 15 minutes? I got something. If I'm dressed in a yoga pants, you gave me 15-minute notice.
Right.
But if we have a meeting and I know ahead of time, I'm going to dress to at least nice, presentable, casual, professional, at the least. I feel like it makes us feel important. It makes whoever you're going to go see, like, you took the time, you invested some time to make them feel like they were special enough for you to get dressed somewhat, a little bit more. It could be different in that field. I don't know.
But even in my entertainment industry, I never wore a suit to any of my pitch meetings or anything like.
I don't know. I would have. But I'll be honest, though, because this brings up a whole different topic, and we could talk about that another time. But women and men are different.
They are.
Yeah.
We have to be on top of our game for us to be taken seriously.
Absolutely.
But it's also the perception as well, because even like, so when I bought this house out here, right, when I first got out here, I was really trying to do the buying just me and my lender. Like, we're just gonna do it ourselves because we already went through the process, whatever, for the first house. But then I had to call this one agent guy to show us the house, right? And I met with him, and then he was like, "Hey, you want me to show you some other houses?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool," because I'd never been out here before. I didn't know the area, so he took me to like 3-4 other houses, right? And let me tell you that I don't know. And this is where I go and I tell people, don't judge people by the book or the cover, right? So he took me to see these 3-4 houses, and on the 4th house, I had to pull him to the side. I said, "Hey, I don't know what impression I gave you, but I am not a ghetto nigga. Like, like, I don't know what I said, or maybe it's how I look. Like, but with the places you took me, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?" He was like, "Oh, I know what you want." So then he took right, because he took me to the east side. And I was like, dude, like, I don't know what I did, what I said. And so he took me to the west side, Quartz Hills and all that, west side of Lancaster. And he showed me the first house he showed me. I was like, much better. This is me. But he judged me.
Yeah.
Right. And he didn't even have on his, like, he didn't look nice. Like, he had on like jeans, t-shirt, and some sweater thing. I don't know, but he judged me.
Well, see, going back to what you said, don't judge people, or don't judge a book by its cover, right? Not everyone does it, but the majority of people,
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Whether they admit to it or not, you
Yeah.
could
No, they
10
do.
years later, someone was talking shit about how you dressed 10 years ago when you showed up to some meeting, and you might have been successful from then, but they're still like, yeah, but when he showed up to the meeting, he was wearing sweats.
yeah.
Right.
And I think that kind of bugs me, only because, for instance, I think my biggest thing is, when people go to funerals, when I go to a funeral, I'm that one that will have the gloves on, will have the hat on, will have, like, I am wearing the stockings. I'm going full out, all black, only because they deserve the most amount of respect, right? Yes. You're going there to pay your respects to this individual that is now gone. And so people go out of their way to buy a new dress for a wedding, for a birthday, for a special event, and they will get their hair done, their makeup done. They will be looking flawless. But then you're going to show up to a funeral in some jeans or in some shorts. Like, what a disrespect, you know? So
Same
again,
thing at church.
Yeah. Absolutely. You wear your best
I wear my Sunday
outfits.
best.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll show up people wearing jeans or like board shorts, and I'm like,
why?
We're going to the Lord. If you were going to meet the President of the United States, would you dress up? Exactly. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, funerals, church, weddings, special events, meetings. This could be putting your kid through college. I don't know. Dress for the occasion. I'm not saying to wear your Sunday best to everything, but dress like you took a shower, put some cologne on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do that. I catch myself doing that at sometimes, like judging people, right? Like the moment I meet them, I look at them and I'm like, huh? But I also give people the benefit of the doubt. I wait till they start speaking, because I'm a firm believer in, and this is why I think I dress the way I dress, because my work is always going to speak for itself. It doesn't matter what I look like or what you think I look like. My work is always going to, and that's why, like, I've been on since I was 14 years old. I never had a 9-to-5 job. My work is always going to speak for itself.
I have to dress nice because the way I speak, ooh. The professional Diana and then the Diana outside of work. There's two different Dianas.
Right, but you still have this energy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just kidding.
You still like, so it's my first time meeting you, and you have great energy. I'm in energy. I can talk to someone for like 5-15 minutes, I tell people, and I can tell if they have good energy. I mean, it's just the aura that comes off of you, right?
I only fuck with real people.
Right, but fake people, like, you can notice
period.
that.
Period.
But you can like, fake people. Yeah. Like, someone could just open their mouth and I'm like, oh, they full of shit. I already know it. Like your girl I told you about, I'm not going to say her name because I'm not going to put her on blast, but when I was at Madrano's a few weeks ago with Lily, and remember I told you about the one girl, and I was like, oh my God. And I called you immediately and said, hey, I would never work with that motherfucker again.
That's
ever.
sad. Yeah, that's sad.
Like, I'll never work with her. Don't ever bring her around me. I even told Lily that. Don't ever bring her around me. But
that's sad too, when you're in business and if you make one bad impression, you don't realize the trickle effect of that.
Absolutely.
That's the sad part. And you could be on an off day. It could be, for us, about to be started period. We're a little emotional. We're a little grumpy. It could be an off day.
It's 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks. And I'm like, and I tell my sister, I'm like, girl, it's not even you. If I sound like I'm going crazy right now, just know it's that time of the month. So just bear with me. She's like,
oh, and I will tell people that. I'll be like, yo, Diana, point 2 is coming.
Please stay away.
Bear with me. Like, know that I'm not trying to be rude. And I always try to leave it that, like, please don't take offense to what I'm about to say, but I just feel this type of way. So,
yeah. Refill?
Yes. Take a sip.
She's
with
like,
me.
I'm on my way. But you also, going back to being fake, you got to keep it real. Sometimes not everyone is going to vibe with you or support you, because sometimes they can't handle what you're bringing to the table, the truth that you're bringing, right? And that's okay too.
Oh, it is.
And it goes back to, we're not for everybody.
Absolutely.
And I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
It's hard enough trying to be happy with myself.
Exactly. Trying to make everyone else happy.
But you know what? And that goes back to what I always say. I accept people for who they are, not who I want them to be. And I put everybody in a certain box. It is what it is.
Now, your guys are steering from my question was, who is Jackie?
Sorry.
Jackie.
There you go. Hey, that's why you go. Who is Jackie? Is it Jackie? You want to know who Jackie is, or Jacqueline?
Jacqueline. And it wasn't Hernandez, because Hernandez is your married name?
No.
That's
my
maiden name.
My maiden name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think when I got married, I was really, really young. I was 21 years old.
Oh, shit.
My husband was 28. And I'm like, do you know how lucky you are, bro? Like, look at how young you got me. Like, I should have been partying and living my best life.
I'm taking he's not going to listen to this.
I met him when I was 20, 21. It was a wrap. I was locked. And I'm like, dang, bro, you
scored.
You're lucky.
He can listen to this because he needs to be reminded.
Yeah, you need.
What a privilege!
You need to be reminded.
Wow.
You are a lucky son of a. Mm-hmm.
And so, I was really, really young, and now
21.
I know
The journey y'all must have had.
girl.
Because marriage. I mean, I got married at 30. Anyways, I'm 29. So it's just
it's
journey.
It's
Marriage
a
is
lot
tough.
it's a lot of hard work. I will say,
It's a
marriage
lot
is
of
not
communication
easy.
and forgiveness.
Wait, how long you been married now?
14 years.
Ooh.
Okay, and another 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, another 11 years. Is it? Yeah, no, 10. No, 11. Then I want to have another conversation with you and ask you how's it going.
Okay.
Because with my ex-wife, I was married for 25 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
There's like an actual special color, like for
There
that
is.
anniversary. I know 50 is gold because we did my grandparents' gold.
But the great things about it is, and me, Diana, we talked about this. Like we're still best friends. Like we're great
She's his
friends.
soulmate.
She is my soul. And she tells people that. Like she even told her boyfriend that like you don't have to be married to be somebody's soulmate. She was like, Mike is my soulmate. Period. Even though we're not together, he's my soulmate. And like
They should be together.
Everybody's trying to get us back together.
Maybe you never know.
No.
No, and I understand that. That's crazy that you say that, but because, you don't need to be married to someone. Like I think
Yeah.
she's my soulmate. My sister's my soulmate for sure.
Right.
I told her the other day, I'm like, dude, if like we ever fall apart, like I'll never be friends with anyone because I would know at that point, like
There's no point.
There is no point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would die. Like
What's the age difference?
10 years.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
No way.
Yeah.
Not to say that y'all both
Because
look
you
very young.
look like you're like
Yeah.
24 years old.
Yes, thank you, Jesus. Okay.
So that would make her at 14. And I know she
I'm
ain't
only 5
14.
years older than you, so we're all in the same 20s
But
bracket.
I'll tell you, her wisdom is ridiculous. Because I'm like, are you sure?
She's an
like,
old soul.
Are you sure?
Wait, what's your name again?
Nayeli.
Nayeli. We have Nayeli in here. She's not mic'd up, but thank you for joining us. Welcome.
She's our audience.
She's our audience today.
You can be an audience too. Just let us know.
Me?
No, talking about to our audience that
Oh.
they could be audience.
Oh,
No, I don't know how we got along so well, but
Always, like since day one, that
yeah.
you never fight.
Yeah. No, have we ever fought?
Not like a real fight, but like sometimes she'll say something and I'm like, I'm literally telling you, and then she won't listen, and then a week later she's like,
You're right.
yeah, so
Yeah. No, but we became really, really good friends, and then somehow we started calling each other sisters. So people actually truly
I thought that was your
believe
sister.
we are sisters.
I
Like
did.
they're like, oh, how like. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. We
Okay,
are
mind
sisters.
blown. I just thought you guys were sisters.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
we might be related, but
So did you
I
meet
think
her
so,
when you
possibly.
were younger?
Through real estate.
Oh, so just recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
oh. So wait, I thought you guys were sisters. What
Do
did
you
I
have
miss?
sisters?
No, I'm actually the only child. So actually, when
Only
when
child,
you
gay.
ask, when you ask who is Jackie, Jackie is an only child. So that makes
have
people
only child
realize.
syndrome.
Yes, people are like, oh, now
That's why you're
we
spoiled.
understand why you are the way you are.
it makes
You know
sense.
what? But I will say, people do think that I was brought up possibly ridiculously spoiled, and I got everything I wanted. And the reality is
It's true. I'm
not
just
at all.
kidding.
No,
I'm
that's
just kidding.
actually not true. My mom was a single mother up until I was 10.
Okay.
So I've never actually met my biological father, but my stepdad was my dad. You know, he came into my life when I was
Never
10.
ever like curious, met, reached out to.
Nope.
Know the name.
No, I know the name, but that's all
You
I
seen
know.
pictures?
So,
No.
so
Does
let-
it not spark a ounce of curiosity?
Sometimes only because I look so different than
The rest of
like
your
even my mom, like she's like 4'11" and like barely 100 pounds, and I'm like, all of my cousins, they all look the same, and I am the only one that kind of, I'm like,
Ah, and you
yeah,
never like, is he still alive?
I think he might be, you know.
My husband has a similar story, and I'm so similar. My stepfather came into my life when I was 3. So, and I knew I had a different father. My mom told me very young that he is not my dad, and I have a dad, and so that created a lot of problems. But I knew of my dad. I never really got to connect with him until I was much older. But that literally was the being of my like existence. Like I had to know my dad. Mm-hmm. And I caused so many problems because I didn't have my dad. And I grew up in realizing that he was not the person I imagined in my mind. I don't know if I pictured a guy on a white horse or what, but thankfully as an adult I got to meet him and get to know him, and you know, he's got his own life. But I had to know him. Like, it's crazy. I tell my husband this, my husband's never met his biological father, and I'm like, how, like, just one time, isn't that, like, what about the regret of, like, if he passes, you never get that time?
But I think for me, it was more on the opposite side. Like, you know, you have a daughter out there, right? Yeah. And it wasn't important enough for you to reach out or to try to find me or to,
there it is,
you know, create that relationship or get to know me.
But
right?
as an adult, you know how hard it is being an adult, being a human, being an adult. Like, I make so many mistakes, and I've apologized to my kids multiple times. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have it together. I don't know what I'm doing. I make mistakes. Now, would I let a kid go without knowing them? No. Everybody has their own battle and their own journey. And I don't know if some, like, you know, I tell my dad, like, I was a child. You were the adult. So right. For me to reach out to you, that's ridiculous. You should have reached out to me. However, I just wanted to meet you to tell you that to your face, to let you know you fucked up. Look how great I'm doing without you. Do I need to continue a relationship? That's on you. Like, I don't know. We'll see. But I just needed to know who, like, just to meet you so that I had that was checked off. Like, I met my dad. He wasn't quite the person I thought he was going to be. I'm moving on. I don't need him to succeed in life. I don't need him to exist, right. But I just had to meet him. And I think, to me, that would have been a huge regret. But, you know,
in
my world.
For me, so.
Because I know you have similar stuff too.
So, yeah, my mom was murdered when I was 5 months old, right? So I never knew her side of the family. My father, who I never got along with, and he just passed away like 4 years ago, but he kept that whole side of the family away from me, right? So to this day, my sister, I know I have an uncle and an aunt out there, so my sister is still looking for them. And so she asked me like a couple of years ago, she was like, hey, I'm getting close. Like I just found out 3 years ago I was part Cuban. So my mother's mother is from Cuba. So she's doing her investigation, right, and her research. So she asked me a couple of years ago, she said, hey, if I find them, do you want to meet them? And I was like, I mean, if you find them and they want to have dinner with me, I'm open to that. Am I looking for them? No, because they've never looked for me. Why do I give a shit? Like, and she's like, you gonna help me? And I'm like, no, I'm not looking for them. They're not looking for me all these years. So why do I need to put the time and energy and look for them?
Yeah. It's hard.
Now, if they came and knocked on the door and want to have dinner, cool, you're here. Let's talk. But it's not going to be a kumbaya. We family now. Like, after all these years, like, I have respect, and, you know, I'll sit down with you, but I'm not looking for them.
I think my biggest thing is I don't want to ever have a regret. I'd rather have said I shouldn't have done that. Like, oops, experienced that. But to say, God, I wish I would have, and now I can't. To me, that's a harder thing, because I can't fix that.
Right.
So that's where I come from. And I think for my kids, the same thing. Like, their biological dad, my older two, they didn't meet him until they were like 14, 15. And he passed away like 2 years after they met. And thankfully, like, both of them were like, thank God, like, you made me, like, my daughter goes, you made me go meet him. Because if I wouldn't have went, because she was like, I don't care if like, he didn't care about me. That same thought, like, if I wouldn't have went, I would have never at least had the chance to say, hey, I'm Sabrina, I'm your daughter. Even though, like, they can't have a kid. And that affected her more than my son, knowing that he was gone and now that opportunity was gone. So that's where my mentality is going with it. And I tell my husband the same thing. Like, you may not, after you meet them that one time, you may not give a fuck about them ever again. You may never think about them again, and you just go on your life. And that's totally accurate, and it's okay. But at least for your own, I met you.
But you know what? And for all these years, I never had a relationship with my father, right? And you know, and this story goes deeper, and I ain't even told you about it. But that's just a whole nother story. That's a whole nother podcast, because you know he was involved with my mother's murder, and he was an LAPD officer. So this is my like. It goes deep and crazy.
Blown.
It does. But anyway, so the last 6 months of his life, I went and made my peace with him. Like, I sat with him like for a couple of weeks right before he passed away. But I did it for myself.
Yeah, you have to.
And my ex-wife, she had told me, she was like, go do it for you. Don't do it for him, but do it for you. And I did.
You got to get everything off.
And I felt right. And he took a lot of shit to his grave. Like he really did. Like he was a Navy man. He took a lot of shit to his grave. And my sister is pissed about that because there's so much she wanted to know.
Yeah.
And I knew that he was going to do that. So it was like when I was spending time with him, I didn't even bother asking him questions because I knew he was going to do that. Right. Just I knew the type of person he was. So for me, it was just for me getting shit off my chest. And like I'm super cool with it now. Like I have no feelings whatsoever about it.
What is one thing besides that beautiful saying that your mom told you? What is one thing that you live by that your mom taught you? Because that's a strong woman. Single women are beyond strong.
Very, very strong. I think one of the biggest things my mom always says too is nunca te creas mejor ni menos que nadie. So don't ever think you're better than anyone, but also don't think that, you're below anyone either.
I love that.
So you treat people the way you want to be treated, and you treat everyone with respect. It doesn't matter. Now, I think, who is Jackie? I can be the nicest, meanest person ever, but if you get to see that side of me, that mean side, then ultimately it's because you've done something to really deserve it. Because I'm the type that I'm constantly giving more chances than what people deserve. I want to see the good. I'm like, nope, if you did this, it's because I try to make excuses, right? And like you said, people are going to show you who they really are.
Right.
And I'm like, I refuse to believe that. I don't know why that, like, there's
that
this
meme
part of
that's
me.
like the red flag, but it wasn't quite
But
red.
it wasn't really
it was like
red.
muted.
It was like kind of pink, And so I think I want to believe that all people have good intentions and everyone is a good person because I want to believe that. I genuinely do.
I do too. I'm just saying. That's why I created my brand. That's why I love helping people. Even like with all the shit I've been through growing up, with my mom. And
I think that's why you do that, though. I think that's why we connect, because we all want to help people. Because we've experienced hurt, we've experienced pain. We don't want anybody else to experience that. And that's an amazing soul to be that way. And that's why I only fuck with real people, because we are all the same in that goal, and that end goal is to help people. There's so many hurting people, and they don't know who to turn to and who to talk to and how to even just express themselves. And that's why I love this podcast, is because it's a way, not only is it a way to vent and be therapeutic, but it helps. You don't even know, somebody could listen to this and never say that they listened to it, but you don't know what they heard that's like, oh, I feel the same way and I'm not alone. And there's someone out there that says the same thing, and it gets them through that day to say, I'm not going to off myself tonight, or I'm not going to, drink myself through all this. Like, I'm just going to, like, they can do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, with that said, I am, because we are running out of time. We've been talking to you guys for a while now, but thank you, Jackie, for joining us. This has been such a great, and like what Diana just said, like you just never know when you're having that conversation, what words are saying, you might spark an idea or whatnot. Call us in, reach out to us 747-999-8021, or reach out to me on IG, 1NELife Brand, or Diana at Socialholic TV. Again, Jackie Hernandez.
How do we reach you, Jackie?
You can reach me directly. I have an office line, obviously, but you can literally call me on my cell phone. Area code 805-294-3670. Again, area code 805-294-3670. It's 805 because, again, I was from
Shout out to the 805.
Yeah, shout out to the 805.
Deals in Heels on Instagram.
On Instagram.
And I noticed this while I was being a stalker last night. You don't just do AV. What other areas do you cover?
Everywhere. Yes. So if I can drive there, I'm going.
Oh, okay.
Love it.
So the whole.
Yeah. So like
whole Southern California.
I think I was supposed to be in Coachella on Sunday, but we got our offer accepted, so I won't be going out there. But I've listed homes in Santa Maria, Ventura, Oxnard, Pomona, Highland Park.
Palm
you name
Desert.
it, I'll go.
You go. Hey.
I love it.
What?
Oh, did I?
Wow.
Yay.
Wow.
She has my phone, so she was checking.
Wow. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Hey, we got an exclusive.
We do.
Hey, well, thank you again, Jackie. We truly appreciate it. We're definitely going to have you back again just to continue the conversation because we want to know more about you and just to kind of dig in deeper
How
about
we can
your story.
help promote and support and further your adventure. So
Awesome, guys. Thank you. I'd love to be back.
All right. We are in the elevator. We're going back down to the lobby. Thank you guys for joining in. And we're out of here. Any last words, Diana, for you?
peace out.
All right.